Jordan Peterson's like, if you don't build in Fortnite, how do you expect
It'll
to
be complete
crank
tyranny.
90? You have to crank 90 to Joe. Wait,
Yo.
drunk Sean is joining.
No
Oh
way.
my god.
Hey!
Go Sean in the house.
I
Yeah.
truly believe if you just work your ass off, eventually something's bound to happen. But anyways, I would love to hear this rich dad poor dad story.
Wait, one more. Let me
bro.
let me jump in with one more thing for the story.
Yeah.
I just want to add on.
I hope
You're
it's going to be a terrible story.
You're
all this,
It's just going to end on such a meh.
all the suspense. Like I want to hear it. I
For
want to hear
nothing.
it.
For nothing.
It's Johnny Late Night! And now here's your host, Johnny Rogers!
Welcome back, everyone, to the Johnny Rogers Show, episode number 73. I'm your host, Johnny Rogers. That's obvious by the name. If you want to get these episodes ad-free, exclusive, before anyone else, make sure you go to patreon.com/the Johnny Rogers. That link is always in the description down below. I'm very excited for my guests today. Again, we're trying to get the four Northmen all together, and it's scheduling wise. We all have such hectic and busy lives that we can't seem to nail it down, but we'll get it. We'll get it one of these days. But ladies and gentlemen, without any further delay, please welcome my best friends, Jared Bronstein and Phatriik. Say what's up, boys.
Yo, I don't want to talk over Phatriik. So
I was waiting for you. Classic
so Canadian, bro.
moment. Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the show.
Before
Glad to be back.
we were, yeah, man. I appreciate you guys always coming on, giving the people the content, and we get to catch up. That's why,
That's
like this
literally
podcast. This podcast makes me no money, but it's like a labor of love. Like I just
100%.
love the idea that like we can just capture these conversations where we talk about whatever the hell we want to talk about, and like it's good. We get to like catch up. Nobody's on their phone or whatever looking up anything. It's fun, and there's a lot of shit happening. Like we were just talking about like social media platforms, and you were saying Facebook is becoming like the new place to go to, and I was talking about how LinkedIn's the new place to go to. But like, have you guys fucked around with Be Real very much?
So I had it for a bit, and then I changed it.
You changed it. What do you mean changed
I
it?
didn't change it. I'm changing my background right now. That's why I said I changed it.
Oh.
I stopped using it. It was very short lived for me. I did it for a bit, and then I was like, "What the fuck am I doing this
Yeah.
for?" Like
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm
taking a
not
picture of my
13.
feet, my
Like,
ceiling for.
you know what I mean? I'm like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this right now?
My problem with Be
Um,
Real was like my every Be Real looked the same. It was like me smoking a joint outside. It's like,
like,
I don't know.
stop. What are you doing right now? And you're like,
Usually what I'm doing most
same
times.
thing I'm doing every other day. Yeah, I don't know. I'm in a weird place with social. Like I was gonna post a headshot that I took like 2 years ago on my Instagram, because I was like, I haven't posted on Instagram since like July 21, July 2022. I'm like, it's been a minute. But I was in a weird place of like, I've stopped posting on socials because right before I do it, even stories and shit, I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, who am I doing this for? Am I doing this for myself? Am I doing it for like external validation? Why am I doing this? And when I started questioning that, I kind of realized like, I just don't need to really post on social media. For the longest time, I was like, I got to do it to build a brand as an actor, as this, as that, as an influencer, you make money. And then I realized like, that's not what I want to do. I just want to be on a film set or doing like a voiceover or even a podcast. I'm like, these are the things that I enjoy doing. And I understand it's important to promote yourself online. But I also believe if you just work and you have the skill and the talent and the work ethic to be successful, you don't need an online platform for that. You just,
Speaking of which, let's share Jared's.
yeah,
Go follow
there you go.
Jared Bronstein on Instagram.
No, but like my follower,
Bronst7
bro, at one
at
point I had, I
Phatriik.
think like 17.5K. Shit's been going down, and I'm just like, okay,
Yeah.
because I don't care. Like there was one point when I was trying to hit like 10,000 followers, and I was like, oh, when I hit 10,000, I'll get all these brand deals, I'll make all this money.
Yeah.
Bro, there's people with less followers than me that are fucking constantly getting like brand deals, and I'm just like, what am I doing wrong? And then I realized like nothing. It's just they randomly reach out to people.
It's luck, honestly,
Like,
most of the time.
straight up.
I straight up like everybody looks at the follower count differently. So for some people, they want to gain more followers for the reason that you said there, so that brands reach out to them so that they can do brand deals. Some people want a high amount of followers for like the vanity of it. Like, oh, look,
Right,
I'm like a mini, it makes you feel special. You're like, I'm like a mini celebrity, right? Like with my fan base, it's like, ooh, I'm one of the specials.
Yeah.
I wanted more followers for the features.
Yeah,
At a
that's
certain point in
100%. Swipe
time,
up. Yeah, man.
yeah,
Big time. Big
the
time.
link in the Instagram stories, you needed 10,000 followers
Yep.
to just get that.
Yep.
And so I bought followers to get that. Like
Bro,
people,
fuck. Yeah.
like I'm just gonna get it, and I don't care about being very open and transparent. Like most of my followers are probably Russian bots. Like they probably sold my information 3 times over. But I got that link in the.
That's all that matters.
The worst part about it though is that like they opened that up to everyone like a year later.
Right.
So I'm like, the fuck, spent $40 for nothing. What the
No,
fuck
for a
is
while
that?
I had this like, yeah, it was like an automated, I paid this guy who like figured out some automated system to like follow and unfollow people, but his whole thing was like it'll follow people that are in the same industry as you, so like producers, directors, actors, and it's up to you to actually personally message them and like make the connection with them. If you just follow them and unfollow, is like you'll build the following, but like the whole point is to actually make connections. So I tried to use that to my benefit, but again, to your point, again, a lot of it was just the swipe up feature. Like, hey, I posted a new YouTube video, or I posted a skit. Check it out here. Like, kids these days will never know, but like it was a big deal to have that, because it's like you have 8,000 followers and they're like, hey, check this out, link in bio. Like no one's going to your fucking bio.
No one's going. Yeah,
but if you could just swipe up in a story, and then they came out with a feature where it's like, oh, everyone gets it now, and it's like, oh,
because it made the most sense. You're like, why would you limit that? Like Twitter's doing weird shit with that too. Like you need to pay for Twitter Blue to have 2-factor whatever it's called. I can't say.
Yeah, that was
authentication.
So
like, huh? I need to pay to protect myself. I guess that makes sense.
It was only, I think, for like a text. I think because I was looking it up, you could do like if you have the Google Authenticator app, then you don't have to pay for that, and you could just do that, or like maybe an email.
Yeah.
But it's like if you want to text it to your phone, that's why. But I saw Elon tweet it out. He's like, we're losing like 60 million a year he said something about like false text messages or something like that.
He said
something like that.
He also said he bought a nonprofit for $44 billion. That's so funny, calling Twitter a nonprofit.
Yeah, no, man, I don't know. Look, I think Elon's very eccentric. I think he's a little crazy, but I don't think he's I don't think he's evil. Like people have such a fucking hard on for the guy, and then other people hate him so much, and I'm just like, whatever. Like
he's just a guy.
He's just a fucking weird dude, but like we're all weird, so do what you got to do. Like
my favorite video of him is when he's being interviewed by somebody and he's walking through SpaceX or Tesla or something, and the guy asks him a question, and like 3.5 minutes go by after the question was asked, where there was no response from Elon. Elon's just looking around, and then he goes, "Huh?"
Oh my god!
You're like, what's going on in that brain? Your question, even though he's like has a camera in front of him, he's not even prioritizing that.
No,
he's like 3D chess.
It's fucking nuts,
I just feel like he's a very like not to say he's not normal, but I just feel like he's very interesting.
He's historical. He's historical. He's somebody that like in 100 years they'll identify this time period as like the Elon Musk era.
Yeah, like he was like revolutionary.
Look at all the shit he did. Yeah.
For sure, man.
Which I think is nuts. That probably wasn't his goal in doing all that, opening all these companies and whatnot. But
that's the thing, man. Like fucking everything, like PayPal, SpaceX, Tesla. Like he's fucking put out a lot of shit that we use on a regular basis now. Like game changing stuff.
Yeah. Real game changing stuff. Speaking of game changing shit, like how have you guys like seen any more stuff on AI? Because I just saw the crazy, it's literally a Black Mirror episode come to life. I just saw they invented like an AI where you can put on a VR headset and you can relive memories in any room that you're in. So whatever video of a memory that you've captured, it recreates that around you, and you can watch the memory in front of you.
Damn.
Like,
okay,
that's
so hold on.
Nuts.
So like, let's say I take a video of this pod.
Yeah.
They would upload that to the VR system, and then I would see
So in 40 years, when you're like, oh, I want to look back on that day when I was young and just talking to my friends online, when you put on the VR headset, you would be in your bedroom where you are now, looking around at all the stuff that's there and
like,
seeing
I guess,
us
first person,
on the
right?
computer. First person. Yeah. Like puts you in it and you just see. But like what I saw was somebody watching like an old memory. This is where it gets really like crazy detached, is the ones that aren't first person, where you're looking at a younger version of yourself, like a dad playing outside with his daughter. He's reliving that outside in his backyard.
Like Scrooge, man.
That's what I was thinking, bro. That's so weird.
It's so weird. Like nostalgia is already out of hand. Like people, like if you go on eBay, there's people buying like a shot glass from the Olympics in 2000 because they're big Olympics fans, and they're just spending all their money on memorabilia to relive the good old days.
The memories,
what is this gonna do?
Dude, the nostalgia thing is out of control right now. Like over the last like 5 or 10 years, the gaming nostalgia collectible market kind of peaked, and now if you want to find a copy of even like a GameCube game or like a PS3 game, they're like I saw a game like $200 for this PS3 game because there's some of this stuff so hard to come by, and that's not even that old. But the older stuff, crazy on the AI front though. I've been seeing a lot of videos of like they're like funny videos of like Elon Musk and Jordan Peterson and Joe Rogan like playing video games together and stuff. Like they're like deepfakes basically. But what's really crazy is the AI voice technology's gotten so good that like in the Rogan part of the video, he'll like go and stuff like at the beginning of his sentences, and Jordan Peterson is like stammering on some of the letters, and the audio sounded so flawless. It was blowing me away, man.
Jordan Peterson's like, if you don't build in Fortnite, how do you expect
it'll be complete tyranny?
You have to crank 90 to Joe. That's my best Jordan Peterson.
I saw so with the deepfake things.
Oh shit!
That's a callback to a previous episode if you want to check it out.
the deepfake shit scares me because it's like before, if someone was caught on camera, it's like you're guilty, it's on camera. But now it's like this is you on camera. But maybe it's just technology of someone using your fucking face. Like what?
Yeah.
Then how
we're kind of shooting ourselves in the foot by just constantly uploading otraselves.
This is literally like a more advanced version of the movie Face Off. If you guys know that film with Nick Cage and John Travolta.
Oh my god.
It's like Face Off minus them legitimately having a surgery and stitching each other's faces on each other's body.
That's fucking
man. Yo, if you want to get really like conspiracy crazy on the AI shit, I've heard this theory that AI being released for everybody, video and audio and everything, is just to pave the way for eventual digital ID. They're going to claim, oh, we need to have these online verification tools because you can't tell who's who anymore. Mm-hmm. And it's there's definitely some
it's the Twitter blue
credibility to that. Yeah, but for everything, right? Like
but that's the start
social credit score, bro.
Yeah, that it literally is. It will become like, okay, well, social, which I'm all for, honestly, because my regular credit score is not that great. So if we're switching, to
fake one,
a
fresh restart.
Score, I need let's clean the slate. Like, my social credit score is gonna be through the roof, right? Like,
it might not be a bad thing, but people need the right to anonymity online. Sometimes, like I could be wearing no clothes right now and you guys don't know because I got this avatar going.
We need a little disclaimer up in the top corner, is just so you actually know. The one that I saw recently, and it was just so good, and I'm like, okay, if the technology improves, we're really fucked, is this guy, I'm assuming it's a guy, some guy started like a supplement company for some type of pill or whatever that helps you sleep, let's say. I'm just going to use that as an example. And he deep faked a conversation between Joe Rogan and Dr. Andrew Huberman promoting this guy's supplements.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Using words they've never said before. And it looks like it's a clip from the Joe Rogan experience. Like, we're getting into really dark territory here if we continue down the path.
I mean, it's not so scary, but to the point of AI voice thing, like, I don't know if you guys saw the clip on Instagram, but David Guetta put out he played a song at a festival.
Yeah.
Where he like used Eminem's voice or something, and he like joked about it. He's like, "This isn't actually a track with Eminem. I just use this like AI thing, and I just used his voice, but it sounds just like him." And I'm like, I mean, even as like Johnny as a rapper, like you want to get a feature from Drake or Lil Wayne, you just use a fucking AI and then put out a song saying featuring Drake. Who's gonna know the difference now?
And I could even get a fake. I could even use ChatGPT to write Drake
The
like
verse.
lyrics.
Yeah.
So that it even sounds like something he would say.
Yeah, dude. This type of thing is
So
gonna,
fucked.
I think it's gonna lead to a complete like revolution and revision of copyright law in general, because people like famous musicians, TV personalities, even like the Watch Mojo lady, like they need to be able to protect their their monetary thing, which is their voice or whatever, right? Yo, she'd be so mad if everybody was just like using her voiceovers to AI on their own videos.
Yeah.
So funny though.
But bro, and like I work for like a media company, right? And like when I bring up AI and like the ways that we can use it to like improve like workflow and everything else, I see some people get excited, but I see some people getting nervous because the reason why they're nervous is they're like, this they're looking at me, they're like, shut up, John, shut up. This is gonna replace my job. Like, shut the fuck up. Yeah, South Park needs to redo that episode where it's just AIs taking the job.
Everything, bro. Well, man, like sometimes I use the self-checkout and I'm like, oh, it's faster, it's easier. And then I was like, when the fuck did I start working at Shoppers Drug Mart? Why am I doing this? Like,
bagging my own groceries.
You're reminding yourself to fill out the survey.
Yeah, like what? It's like, yeah, it's like, why am I doing this? Like, I shouldn't. You want to donate $2? Like,
there's like 17 options before you get to the payment. It's like, would you like to sign up for a credit card?
No,
would you like to donate
is the
your
worst,
money?
dude.
Bro, yeah, I got tired of that shit. Now, anytime I'll wait in line. I don't care if there's a huge line because they only have one cashier open. Like, just as a protest, I'm not using the fucking machine. And you know what it is that did it for me? It's the fucking Dollarama and stuff. They're like, oh, please place the item in the bag. And you're like, I know what I'm doing here, all right? You got me on camera. Like, just let me cash out quickly.
But also,
there's a giant camera at those Dollarama
facing
ones.
you, and then it's like place it in the bag, and you do, and it's like, wait, isn't right. Please place it in the bag. You're like, bro, it's right here. It's like getting customer assistance, and you're like, what did I do wrong? Like,
and then the service lady comes over and just gives you a look and punches in a code and doesn't say anything.
Walks away. Scans the card, just walks away. Like, I don't give a fuck what he's stealing.
Somebody needs to do a sketch about those people. Like, that's such a funny ass job. Like,
they have it so easy. You're like cashiers used to have to work so hard, you know? In the grocery store, they'd be just mowing the stuff through. Beep, 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 beep. Now they just stand there like ready to hand you a bag that costs $10.
There used to be so many jobs at a grocery store. Like, do you remember when there used to be, I don't know if you guys remember when you were kids or something, but I remember at the grocery store, there was baggers.
I was going to say the bag boy or the box.
There'd be a bag boy. There'd be a guy his job was just to stand there, take shit, scan, put it in a bag. And they would always do it perfectly. Like they had some technique down because they were doing it all day. Right? Because you got to gamify your life a little bit when you're a bag boy, right?
Like playing Tetris over there,
yeah. You got to have something to entertain yourself.
I mean, like looking back, now that I'm older, if I was a bag boy, I was gonna say if I was a bag boy, I would just show up stoned every day, 100%. Like, what else are you gonna fucking do?
Yeah,
I would just be ripped for every.
Now you can't even fucking get a bag. Forget a bag.
Yeah. They just got rid of the bags.
Holy shit! Yeah, they got rid of the boy, then they got rid of the bag. Cashier's next.
What's next? Holy shit, man!
Well, you know, they still have bag boys at Whole Foods.
Oh yeah.
If you want like a rustic experience.
Yeah.
Back in my day.
Organic bag boys.
Yeah.
You know what's next is they're just gonna get rid of the whole cashing out process. They've already tested this with grocery stores.
Yeah,
you
Amazon,
walk in, you put your shit in the cart, and when you walk out, whatever you leave with is paid for. It just comes off your credit card. You don't even notice.
It doesn't even stop there. They're gonna keep going further. Pretty soon, they'll eliminate you too, and they'll just be, there will just be a machine that collects all the groceries for you. And then there'll be no grocery store.
That's what Instacart is, isn't it? Instacart is just a guy that goes grocery shopping for you.
Take away your food, and then there's no food left, and then it's all out war.
We'll all just be hooked up to machines.
Yeah, just feeding tubes.
You can pay for the premium slop, or you can just get the regular stuff.
Like a gas station.
To just barely keep you alive.
Oh my god.
We're just going from gas station to gas station getting our slop. Oh fuck.
I imagine it would just be like it would be just in your cube, when you get home from work and you just hook up the tube to your mouth and get your daily allotted amount of nutrition.
Well, you'll probably have like calorie bars. They'll just like you just eat like a bar
Yeah.
that's all of your daily calories and you just go about your day. Just keep
Yeah,
working.
that makes sense.
They do the shit they have to at some point input like a universal basic income. Like that feels like the next logical step, right? Like if you want to have, at least in the Western world, if you want to have a like group of citizens that are motivated to innovate and like create new businesses and bring and spend in the economy to like spend tax dollars basically there too, you're going to have to give some people a universal basic income because the jobs that they were qualified for, that they even trained for, don't even exist anymore.
And they disappear so quickly to when new stuff comes. What's crazy about that theory is I think that could happen, but I think when it happens, it'll be in the form of debt. You won't necessarily just be getting money. You'll be getting like what you need to get what you need to get by, but you also, it's like you owe us. So there's like like think about,
It'd be like a
Jared
stipend. Is that what it's called?
Sort of like Jared was talking earlier about being on social media and you're like, oh, I don't really know what to post about and it's hard to stay motivated. And they create such a demand for you to create content. They create this ecosystem where you feel like, oh, if I could just make it. I think that the same thing, money and social currency, they're like intertwined now. And I think that a lot of people will buy into this idea of, oh, if I just get the universal basic income thing, even though I owe a debt, I'll be able to make my Instagram page work or whatever, and then start getting some deals, and then I can pay that back. And like people will take on like a social currency debt in a way. Like what we're headed towards is so weird because you can monetize people's just attention, the clicks, the likes, all of that stuff. So I think that finding a way to create debt out of that is going to be like the future of businesses and banks and stuff because they love debt so much, right? Like student loans, take that and apply it to the person. Nobody wants to go to college and stuff anymore, right? So how can we get them in debt is like what they're trying to plan, right?
And so insane too that they give 18-year-olds like thousands of dollars. They'll just give it to you to go in
at that age.
with.
You can't get like a small business loan or get a tattoo,
fucked,
but you can.
But you can get 20 grand for a student loan. Like
it's like it's brain dead, to be honest with you. Like
it's not progress. I don't see it as that. Like maybe
not
progress for some.
For
like,
sure. Yeah. The school thing has gotten so out of control, bro. Like it's, people I think used to kind of joke about school like indoctrinates you into like a worker slave, and now it's like it's not really a joke anymore.
Well, that shit starts so young, and like, I remember, I think it was like it might have been Dan Carlin's Hardcore History podcast where I heard this, but like he was talking about the whole like creation of the school system essentially, and it actually stems from Prussia, which is like, whenever that time period was, when it was Prussia, for fuck's sakes, right? Like a place you don't even hear about anymore because it doesn't exist. It got wiped out by another country. But the men that they were sending off the war were like terrified, rightfully so, right? Like they didn't want to kill other people. They thought that they were there for good reasons. And then they realized the actual horrors of war. They were terrible at taking orders. Like they would just run off. And so they realized, okay, we need to indoctrinate. We need to like set up a system that they go through as children so that they, when they're older, they feel more comfortable dying for their country. Like it makes it feel like they can take orders, they can get stuff done on time, and they do it for this overarching reason. That's why you'd sing the national anthem at the start of every single day. Like it's priming you, right, for this kind of service to your country that otherwise you wouldn't have. Because if you take a step back and you're like, oh, we're all just people living on a rock spinning through space. Like what country?
Yeah, why should I love this country more than others or whatever? Yeah, it's kind of weird when you think about it.
Like what never made sense to me is the idea of borders. Like animals don't have borders,
bro.
They just live wherever the fuck they live. It's just like whatever. You don't have to. You know what I mean? It's like this idea of like, well, let me see your passport. You're not allowed to come to my country. You can't come to my country. It's like What if we just didn't have that and people could just go wherever the fuck they wanted? Like, what would happen
I don't
then?
know. I feel like the way if they
It's
opened it up now, it'd be like way
yeah,
hard. If they did that at the beginning of
because
time, whatever you
all
want to
the
say.
it's
Right.
because all we couldn't do it now because all these people from all these different countries have been indoctrinated for so many generations that
Right,
even
right,
if
right.
people in Canada were like, hey, yeah, this is pretty cool, people from other countries might be like, oh, I don't want people coming here, or they might not
Right.
want to go to certain places. And I think it's like this whole notion of like social programming, it's kind of an inescapable part of the way that we're raised, wherever we're raised and however we're raised. Like there's always going to be these ideas that are put into us when we're so young that we maybe agree with and don't even know that we have, like those unconscious biases or whatever. I don't think there's even really any way around that. Even if we were to try to be like have this peaceful utopia with no borders, I feel like it couldn't. I feel like it'd be just you're onto something. It's weird like
But
that
I
we even
think
have
I
them.
it
I
would
think
be
it's
Like,
more of
how
more.
do
an
we get here?
infrastructure. I think it's more of an infrastructure issue though. When I was thinking about it more so, like say if you got rid of the ideologies and everyone was like accepting of like the whole world agrees like okay, every country on earth is at peace. Because I always wonder that with like all these movements going, it's like what is the end goal for all these movements? Because if it's not peace, then what is it?
I
Right?
think it's
Like
individual wealth usually is what motivates these people.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. They want what they don't have, and they're taking it from people who they think have what they
And I think
need
that's
or whatever.
partially where like borders came in. I mean, going back to like,
To
you
protect
know,
you, it's like a kingdom.
yeah, like Genghis Khan
Yeah,
era. Like we're talking
Yeah.
like the empires or whatever the fuck, even the Ottoman Empire. Like I think that's where borders came in. Where like where we draw this line, that's your land, this is our land. It was kind of like to determine who was entitled to what, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like that's where borders came in. But again, like the idea of even back then when like emperors had land, like who first of all, who decides it's their land? Second of all, like why what like it just doesn't, I don't know.
It's one of my favorite scenes from the movie
It's
Year
just
One.
like
Have you ever seen that
I've
movie?
never it's Michael Cera and Jack Black,
Dude,
right?
it's so good. And McLovin's in it. I don't remember the actor's name, but I just remember him as McLovin. But he like his dad, I can't remember who he's playing. He in the Bible they're playing who's the guy that like brought his son up to a mountaintop? It was Abraham and his son. He said God told him to sacrifice his son basically to help, help his people. That was just like a weird part, right? And so Abraham is going like telling, Jack Black and Michael Cera, like, yes, this is our land here, and it goes as far to the east, and God says we have as far to the west, and then McLovin character leans in and goes, yeah, but apparently God didn't tell anyone else because we're at war every other day.
Like that's what
It's
I
so
mean,
true.
man.
Like it's just men's greed was like I deserve
Literally.
everything I can
Literally.
see, right?
Well,
yeah,
because
it's
like
great. You
the
go ahead.
idea of like this is my land and this is where all the oil is. So if you want some of the oil, you got to pay me for it because I'm entitled to it because this is my land. It's like, yeah, but like I
Or I
have
could
food.
steal it.
Yeah, I have food. So what? You just not gonna eat? Like this is my food. You got to like what? Let's just all live naturally off the earth and everyone's happy. But again, different ideologies, different beliefs, different this, different that. I think we're all very similar in the sense of like, listen, believe whatever the fuck you want. Like, as long as it doesn't affect me, I don't really care. And then there's people that are like, you don't believe in what I believe in, so I got to argue with you about it now. And it's like, why? You just
Yeah.
fucking let's just agree to disagree. But a lot of people can't do that, man.
Have you guys
Stupid.
have you guys ever heard of this thing? I can't remember if I'm getting it right, but I think it's called like the evolution of trust. There's like this video that kind of explains there's this theory that if three people are sitting at a machine playing a game, and the way the game works is if you put a coin in and the other person also puts a coin in, you both get a coin back. But if you decide to not put a coin in and the other person puts a coin in, then you get the coin and now you have two coins and you're in the lead. Or you could also like you could be the one to not put the coin in, or you could get screwed over
Mm.
by the other person. Anyway, if you run that through a simulation, what happens is eventually it's only the people who always put a coin in and get a coin back that last, because the greedy ones eventually get sussed out by the ones who are diplomatic and only reciprocate. The ones who give always, they're eliminated first, obviously. And so I think that a lot of what we have is just kind of the it's like human nature. We have this natural concern about ourselves that then extends to our neighboring communities and stuff, and that's where like all of our tribalism comes from. And I think that in our natural I don't know what you would call it, like our aspirations to make all of civilization so advanced, we've always been trying to expand communities, and that's why we have these huge countries and stuff now. But at the same time, we always feel like we can't trust one of our neighbors who might not reciprocate. And I think that feeling of like, oh well, maybe I can't trust you, it always leads to like fighting when normally there shouldn't even be fighting. It's like you say, why can't we just live off the earth and share? And it's like, I mean, why can't we? Like if I'd agreed to it and you agreed to it, then everything would be fine. But how do you know that I'm going to agree, right? And I think this is where faith comes into play. And I think that's why like a Christian society was what like grew so fast for so long, is because they had this deeply embedded sense of morality
and guilt. Guilt played a huge factor.
Oh no, I'll tell you guys right now, Jewish guilt is the worst guilt, bro.
But
my
I mean,
mom
like,
fucking.
But guilt
Familial
almost keeps you honest in a situation where you wouldn't
100%.
be. It's that creeping thought that's like, I'm gonna feel bad about doing this. Yeah, it's
this is wrong.
Guilt awakens the consciousness, basically, right? Like it brings that voice into your head that might have not even been there when you were pursuing the thing you desperately wanted, right? It's that second chance of like, don't do it. Like something bad's gonna happen if you do this.
It reminds me of there's this bit that Bill Burr does where he talks about like he's going on like a George Carlin style rant, and he talks about like, you know, you shouldn't feel guilty because these people who run the world are psychos. They don't feel any guilt. And that's why they're in charge. And it's like, holy crap, bro. But
if we killed all the psychos,
yeah, you know the one.
Yeah, he goes, the problem is, why don't all these nice guys just get together and start killing the psychos? Right. It's like, if we got rid of all the psychos, it'd be better. He had a great bit too about like, someone was like, bro, just ended anxiety, or he's like, isn't it so much better to just tell yourself that you're fine? He's like, he goes, even if you're not fine, he goes, deal with that when it happens. What's the point in worrying about, It's like crusty Bill Burr. This is an impressionist podcast, if you didn't know.
Oh man, I love that mentality though. There's like a Terence McKenna speech that he gave about that. It's this idea of like, just don't worry. Worrying is a waste of time. Like you don't know enough about the world and the things that could potentially happen. He's like, who do you think you are that you should worry? Like, you know what's gonna happen. And it's so funny. Like it's like, it's like hell, fuck, what do I know? Like you think, oh, maybe I could get hit by a car, and it's like, well, maybe you could win the lottery. Like it's like you don't know.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like that's the interesting thing is like humans are just instinctually like wired for survival of like, I gotta know.
So like no assuming the worst.
Yeah. So it's like you always think the worst of like worst case scenario, this happens. But if you could shift your thinking to like best case scenario,
then we have no borders, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy.
Suddenly everyone doesn't give a shit. But worrying is just like, worrying to me is experiencing failure twice. It's experiencing anxiety twice. Like it's your body like preparing yourself for what the feeling of failure might be if you do this and it doesn't work out. That's what worrying is. Like it's just adjusting your body to like, it's gonna feel like shit. It's gonna feel like this right now. This is the light version of failure. Like ready yourself.
You can
and then you over prepare.
You could even think that maybe you're manifesting that by worrying.
Yeah, I really, really believe that there's a lot of power to that stuff. Like I used to speak so negatively about myself. Like I would, and out loud too. I would finish a set or something that I didn't like, or I missed a joke or whatever, and I'd be like, I suck, or like, I can't fucking, like, am I a hack? Like, what the fuck is going on? And it's like, no, I'm just reaffirming those personality traits to myself. And the thing that we love doing is proving ourselves right, even if it's
100%.
the worst case scenario.
100%.
I knew it. I knew I was going to be a failure. Like, there it is. You know
you turn into George Costanza for a minute. For sure, dude.
Yeah, bro. No, but actually, like, it's
I knew
unbelievable.
There it is.
How it's unbelievable how much we want to be right, even when it's not, like, I don't want to say beneficial, but like it's detrimental to us. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, people would rather have their worries come true and see them coming than have some blessing that puts them into an uncomfortable situation.
100%.
Gives you an excuse, right? Like, you're like, well, I can't.
Yeah,
do
exactly.
Because,
You're like, oh well, this happened to me, so now I'm unable to. It's like we find solace in that for some reason.
Yeah, it's like what's the saying? It's people would rather be right about a bad thing than wrong about a good thing, or something like that. So it's like saying, like, I bought a lottery ticket, but like I know I'm not gonna win, and it's like, then why'd you buy the ticket? Like, it's so important.
If you didn't hope that you were gonna win.
It's so important for them to lose, and they want to reaffirm that if they win, it's like, oh, I wasn't expecting this. It's like, then why the fuck did you buy a ticket? Like, like, as an actor, I was talking to my friends and I was like, when it does happen and I do get that big role, I'm not going to be surprised, because that's why I'm training and going on the auditions and doing what I got to do for that purpose. That's the goal.
Yeah.
When it does happen, it's not a shock. It's like, yeah, that's why I've been doing this the whole time, for that.
Dude,
like,
I think that ironically, that's actually the healthy mentality, and the mentality that most people adopt of like, oh well, I never win anything anyway. That's you're living negative 90% of the time waiting for the win.
Man.
But if you're being optimistic, like, maybe you don't get a role, but you learn something, you make some connections, there's always something to take out of there. Like, you're day to day going to be happier than the person who's like, oh, another failure. like that's so shitty,
trust
right?
me, man. I have my days, and
like
it has not happened overnight. But
Yes,
bro,
exactly.
like, life can be a fucking misery. So it's like, you gotta just make the best of every situation. And again, always try to see like the silver line and the positive, like the whatever you want to call it. Like, I mean, ultimately, working at the YouTube channel we used to work at, like, when I first got the job back in 2016. This is when, like, before I met you guys, like, I worked there, I left, I came back, and then I met you guys. When I first started working there, bro, they told me I got the job in 2016. I was like, oh, bro, like, this is it. I'm going to blow up. I'm going to this, that.
You know how many times I've said that? This is it. This is my moment.
This is the one, baby.
But then looking back, right, it's like, I don't regret anything. Like, maybe the job didn't work out, but like, look what it's led to. I became friends with you guys, and now here we are talking, years removed from the job, still being friends and talking. So it's like, there's always a positive that comes out of almost every situation. And something that always has stuck with me is the saying, I either win or I learn. Because if you lose,
drunk
you learn.
Sean is joining.
No way.
Oh my God.
Hey! Go Sean in the house.
All right, we got to do a 4. We got to get 4 up for the thumbnail.
Oh, shit. Okay, hang on. I got to switch. My avatar doesn't have hands.
Yeah.
Should I take blur off, or is it okay to be blurry?
No, I can see it still there. Sean, chuck up your 4s.
Wait, I'm not ready.
This must be so confusing for people listening to the podcast.
You just hear someone singing.
For the podcast listeners that are confused, we're holding up 4 fingers because there's 4 of us.
And drunk Sean's here at a bar.
He just left. He just pocket dialed and left.
He's like, 4 fingers. This is too much to ask.
I can't turn on my camera. I'm drunk right now.
Oh my God, dude.
I love that he at least called in.
Already.
Fuck, that's so funny. You know what? Like, going back to what we were talking about with the bag boy, and like how you'd have to gamify life to make it more interesting. It's funny, like, when I was going through like the YouTube company stuff, where I was like I was having like a really rough time before I quit. I was like really struggling with the day-to-day tasks of all the stuff I had to do. And then I called, Alex, right, Pat? Like, you remember Alex?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I called him because I've been friends with this guy since I was 10. So I was like, if anyone's going to tell it to me straight, it's going to be this guy, right? He's not going to beat around the bush whatsoever. And he's like, you're an idiot. He's like, you need to, which you need a friend to tell you that every now and again. He goes, you're being an idiot about this. he's like, quit if you need to quit. Like that's a whole different story, right? But he's like, if you're doing a job like you're doing, which is ridiculous, he's like, I don't know anyone that works in YouTube. Like that's such a like rare job to have right now. And I'm like, you're right, because you get so wrapped up in your day to day. And he's like, just look at it like you're being paid to learn. Instead of you're being paid to do the work, look at it as like you're being paid to learn these valuable skills that will come into play later in life, right? So when I switched my mindset at work to like, okay, the work isn't pain to me because I'm getting paid right now to try something and it either succeeds or it fails. But either way, I learn something from that and I can apply these skills to everything else that I'm going to do in my life that I don't even know yet where it's going to come into play.
Yeah, man.
Like being a wedding MC, I was doing it for the money. Like I was like, this is good money. I'm a comedian. I can host. I can do whatever. But like the many weddings that I hosted where I had to be kind of like casually funny, not so much like set up punchline, came into play when I ended up hosting like award shows. Like I hosted like a college award show where they gave it awards to their class, and then I hosted like a charity award show where they awarded like first responders, which was also connected to me going to college to be a police officer, so I could kind of relate to them in that sense. And it's all these things throughout your life that you take for granted. You're like, oh, this is just part of my journey, but yeah, it accumulates and it ends up coming back in very unexpected ways. So you can't overlook anything, even if it sucks at the moment.
I think that's definitely good advice that Alex gave you. I've been reading Rich Dad Poor Dad. I'm sure you're familiar with that book.
Yeah,
and there's a part that's one of the things he says.
I got a funny story about that. We'll circle back.
He says wealthy people, they don't work for money, they work to learn. And I think that that completely ties into what we're talking about right now. And even talking about what Jared said, if I don't win, I learn, or that kind of concept. I was like, me and Steph did like a Fortnite duos contest today, and just got wrecked, bro. Like five matches in a row of just getting destroyed. And like we hadn't entered one of those contests before, so by the time it was over, it was like, once you pass the initial frustration of like, well, that sucked, it's like, you know what, actually, like, it's our first time doing that. We got over that hump, and we had some kills, we had some good moments, we learned a lot about the difference in competitive play. And so in hindsight, it's like I actually got a lot out of that, even though at the time it just sucked. It's like being criticized by your boss. It's like you're like, well, this sucks, but after it's over, it's like, well, now you know how to do your job well. So it's kind of like there's always the silver lining, right?
Yeah, which you wouldn't have known unless you hadn't made a mistake for them to come in and give you guidance, right? Like we often
with
don't
anything,
ask
you got to
for
just
guidance,
jump, right? And then you can figure out what you did wrong.
Well, another great saying is like how they say, like, you should never be the smartest or the most skilled in a room, or you're in the wrong room. Like if you're the best at what you do in a room, then you're not going to grow because you can't learn from anybody. So like, as an actor, I used to get very like intimidated or self-conscious of like, oh, I don't belong. Like all these actors are so much better than me. But I took an acting class. It was a very intense class in August. And it was like the most intense class I've taken. And I was like, for a while, I was like, I don't belong here. Like these actors are way fucking better than me. And then I was like, wait a minute, that's a good thing. I want that. I don't want to be the best. I want to be with people that are better than me so I can learn from them and grow with them and get to their level.
Yeah.
So, and if you weren't good enough, dude, do you think you'd be in the class with those people?
Of course. And that it took me, I did come to terms with that too, right? It's like, obviously there's a reason why I'm here, but it was really just, I think a lot of people have something to prove. And they want to be the best and they want to be respected, but it's like
respect is the big thing.
The way to get the respect though is like through humility, right? Is through saying like, I don't know, I'm here to learn, I'm here to get better, not by saying I am the best.
That's my struggle with comedy, because I'm like, I want to have fun with comedy and I want to like, post me doing stupid impressions like I've been doing on this podcast, and like, but I'm like, but will I be respected in comedy? Because when I look at it, and I came up, and I really want to go back to the Rich Dad Poor Dad story, but I gotta tell this separate thought that I had, because the Rich Dad Poor Dad story is ridiculous. But so the problem I've been having with comedy lately is I want to post stand-up clips, but I feel like I'm selling a sample to a product I have not made yet. So for me as a stand-up comedian, my product is an hour comedy special. That's something that I could sell to a distributor. That's something that could get streams online. It's that hour. It's something that I could tour with and get asses in the seats and make money from like touring and shows and all that stuff, right? I don't have that fully completed hour that I'm like super happy with yet. So if I'm just like, I wrote this all down, but I equated it to like Noah's Ark. Okay. So like God comes down, Noah is the OG influencer. God comes down to Noah. He tells Noah, the earth is ending. Like this shit is, I'm going to throw a ton of like 20-foot waves. Like it's going to destroy everything. Your job is to build a big ass fucking boat, get as many people on that boat as you can, and then save humanity, right? Now, if Noah was like, okay, cool, got it. I got my message and what I have to do. If Noah skipped the boat building process and just went straight out into the cities and into the lands and was telling people like, hey, God told me that the world's going to end. Like, you should come follow me. Like, come follow me. I'm over here. And then everybody's like, all right, cool. This guy seems nice. Like, I like his little speech that he gave us. He seems really good. And then they follow him back and there's no fucking boat. There's no boat. He's like, this guy was telling us that there was going to be a giant boat. And he's like, well, you're going to all build it with me. Nobody's going to want to build that boat with him. Right. But he did the opposite, right? He built the boat first, the product. He built the giant fucking boat. And then he convinced people when they came back to like, oh, the boat's here. All right, everybody get on the boat. Like, let's go enjoy this, right? He was so influential, he convinced fucking animals to come in 2x2. They don't even speak English, but they're like everybody's.
This guy fucks.
Even the giraffe. Yeah, Noah fucked for sure. Even the giraffes were like, I don't understand English, but everybody's getting on this thing, so I guess we should go too. Like, you know, like it's kind of, that's the struggle that I'm having with now. I'm like, I got to focus on just being the best stand-up I could be. Don't worry about respect from other people. Don't worry about followers. Like,
I went through the exact same thing with acting. I literally the last thing I booked with my agent was that Hallmark film that I did back in September of 2020. So it was like 2 years of, and again, had auditions, had callbacks, was on hold for shit, just hadn't booked anything through her. Like I did student films and all that shit. I went to England in August, or like end of July, August of this past year with my buddy JJ. And first time in Europe, we went to theater shows, musicals, and I was just so inspired. I was like, that's all I want to do is just perform. So then I came back and I've been training consistently since August, like acting wise. And I just came to terms of like, who gives a fuck about booking? Like if my agent drops me because I'm not making her money, it is what it is. Like I got to get to a place where I'm so good that I don't feel like I have to prove anything. I know what I'm capable of. And before I think I was very desperate of like, I got to work, I got to get on set, I got to book gigs, this and that. Then now my mentality shifts to like, just keep working on getting better, because then you'll be so good that they'll have to hire you. They won't have a choice because you're going to be the best, that they're going to want to have to work with you. But when you're in this place of like result over process, it's just desperate, and it's just like you don't achieve the result because you're so focused on it. When you're focused on the process of getting better all the time, people recognize that, and then the opportunities start to come because you are improving regularly. And that took me a long fucking time to really get to terms with. But
that's real shit.
Like ever since I've really put my focus in just getting better in the past like fucking 6 months, so many more opportunities have come my way than in the past 5 or 6 years or 7 years since I've graduated college. Like it really is mind blowing how, and I know Gary Vee always talks about it. Like you just focus on the process, not the results, but like, you know, it's easy to hear it and not put into practice. But the second you put that into practice and you just stick with it, and you know, you have your good days and bad days, but through it all, you just keep pushing on, man. Like just shit just happens, man. And other things happen that you never in a million years would ever think. Like, you know, I'll get more into it off the record with you guys later. But you know, for me, I never considered myself a writer. My buddy and I ended up writing a pilot together for a show, and now we're pitching it to a production company that like him and I would be the leads of. And it's like they made us sign a release, and like they're really, I don't know if they're considering producing it or not. Like I haven't heard back from them yet. But if you were to ask me 6 months ago, like, would you ever write a show? I'd be like, I'm not a writer, no. But I've been writing a show now for the past 3-4 months just because, and it's like, just
that's awesome, man. Good for you, bro.
Yeah, no, and it's again, man, kudos, it's like just
it's tough stuff.
Just putting the focus into the process, not the end result, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, and it's so much more rewarding, right?
So much.
If I can pile on here too, to everything that you said, Johnny, I feel like I would have two pieces of advice, and the first one would be, you know, the priority would be then in response to what you said is to build the arc. Like number one, like just start building it, right? Make an hour comedy special that's kind of mediocre, and you can make another one after you grow. And but more importantly, the second thing, people love like rooting for the underdog. People love the
Yep.
success story. This is the thing, like Gary Vee and other influencers talk about a lot. People love to be a part of your following before you take off and before you blow up. And even if you have like 500 people who are following you that are like the diehards within the following, and they hear finally that your special is coming, they're like, "Oh man, are you going to come to Nashville?" And it's like, well, I mean, probably not, but like maybe the next one or whatever. And like it, like Jared said, the process, like you should, I think, do every idea that you have of the fucking impressions or whatever for the Instagram. If
Yep.
anything doesn't take off, then it doesn't matter because nobody saw it anyway, right? And then you can just try something else. But you never know which thing is going to pop off. And as Jared said, you never know which thing is going to lead to some crazy new opportunity. So I think, you know, this is something that I've always struggled with too, is that focus on, well, what exactly am I trying to do here? But it's so much more important to just start being in motion, right?
Yep.
And I think if
Man.
you just start moving, you're gonna see a lot more traction.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, and not just like you know, a big thing like the company I work for, they always talk about impact over input, and that always, though, as soon as they said that, that really struck a chord with me because it's like you have to run that through your filter of whatever you're doing is. Am I just doing something for the sake of doing something, or am I doing something that actually means something to me? Like it's bringing me joy or it's moving me forward. Like, what is this doing? Is it providing impact or is it just input? And that's it.
It's almost like the idea of how viral ability is more important than quality when it comes to making content. Like it's so much more important for your thing to resonate with people than it is for it to be like really polished. And I think that's another thing to just lean into, right? Like you have a lot of ideas for like, you know, doing impressions and stuff like that that are probably really funny, that like people want to see that stuff. And I think that if you do it and it doesn't pop off, then it's like, who cares? It's nothing, no skin off your teeth, right? But you don't know. You could do a Bill Burr impression, and that could be the thing that goes by. That could be that could be the machine, bro. You know?
I gotta get better
thing,
at
right?
the Boston accent.
Like, something like the machine, like that's something that happened to him in high school. And then years later to stand up and he doesn't think anything of it. And then years later it blows up and now he's making a movie out of it. What?
Yeah.
30
and he
years
never,
later, like,
the craziest thing with that story is he never even considered it as a bit in his act. He told the story on Joe Rogan and Joe said to him, "Is that a bit in your act?" And he was like, "No, it's just the thing that happened to me." He goes, "You need to write this. Like you need to figure out how to turn it into a joke and do that." Like, and that's what like kind of what set it in motion. And then it wasn't until he did the work like 1,000 times over of figuring out how this story can make sense. He then filmed it as part of an hour special. And then that clip from the hour special of that polished story that people, like to what you said, Pat, were hardcore fans of the story when they first heard it on the Joe Rogan Experience. Now they're seeing the polished version of the bit on the special, and it hits so much more. It's so much more viral because those hardcore fans are sharing it, and now it's a movie. Like and he's talking about making like 3 or 4 of these. Like he doesn't want to stop at just one. Like he wants to make it like a franchise. Like insane.
And this is all like, I think, really good like fuel for you to use as motivation. I think that this mental image you have of like all of your followers show up and your arc isn't built yet, I think just throw that aside, bro, because they'll be happy to be the first ones there when the rest of the people show up. You know what I mean? And I think that people on the internet are so fickle, right? If they go to your page and they see some stuff that they like and they watch 3 or 4 funny reels and they're like, "Oh, this guy's awesome," they hit follow and then they go about the rest of their day. You know, and so it's not like, oh, they're gonna unfollow me if I don't post or whatever. Like it's like, you know, follow the process and do the thing that you love. And I think most importantly, just pound out content like crazy, and you're only gonna grow. It's not gonna like shrink unless you're not doing anything, right?
Yeah, this is true. Do you guys want to hear the Rich Dad Poor Dad story?
I do. I just want to say one more thing. It's also like, you got to just do shit you enjoy, man. For the longest time, I like working at the YouTube channel and like seeing the success of people that we know. you know, I tried to do reaction stuff and this and that, and it got to a point where I was like, I don't even want to be doing. Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Just because I think it's
Yeah.
like
you're trying to replicate a successful formula instead of something
yeah,
successful
Yeah.
for them,
enjoy
right?
You know,
that I
you
actually
can't make it
enjoy
work if you
doing,
hate
right?
doing it, right?
And
Like,
that's where I was. That I was like, that's why I've stopped posting YouTube videos, and I've stopped. Like, I still do the podcast with my brother because, like this, to me, it's just him and I just shoot the shit for an hour, and then he posts it, and that's it. I don't post it on my channel, and I don't promote it because I'm like, I don't care. Obviously, I would love for it to do well and make money off of it, sure. But I'm like, for me, it's more so just like the same with this, just having the conversation with people that I love that is just fun for me. It's not about anything more than that. If more comes from it, great. But I'm not doing it for that purpose. Whereas with the YouTube stuff, I was doing it for the purpose of money. And when I wasn't making money, I was like, well, I'm not enjoying it. I'm not making money. Why am I going to keep doing this? So that's kind of why I stopped. And then same with the Instagram stuff, like the influencer stuff. I'm like, this just isn't what I like doing. So why am I going to keep doing it if I'm not even seeing any monetary value from it? Like, why don't I just take that time and invest into my career as an actor? Because then I'm not making money, but I'm still loving what I'm doing. That eventually I will make money. Like, it's just.
And you have more time because you're not focused on doing a YouTube channel and doing this and doing that. Like, you can now focus on those things, right? Like, we wonder why we're not getting ahead on. It's funny. We wonder why we're not getting ahead on stuff that we're not putting any work into. You're like, why am I not further along on that? You're
literally,
like, well, have you touched it?
I would take one class every 8 months. I'd be
Yeah,
like, oh, it's expensive.
Oh,
it's
man.
this, it's that.
You're like,
And now I'm
course not
training
booking
consistently, bro.
Yeah.
And it's like all the opportunities are coming now. Again, I haven't booked for a while, but like I know it's
But
just
it's
a matter of
opportunities,
time.
right?
Like
it's just luck, man. It's gonna be just luck. It's gonna be like, fuck, we had somebody drop. Like, do you know how Kevin Hart got like blew up?
No.
Okay, so there was, I think he did Soul Plane, and then the movie, like, was it? He did a movie that like bombed, and he was essentially like on like a, not like a blacklist, but like a list where it's like you kind of moved back then. You would move to the back of the pack because they were scared of some actors who were on movies that bombed because they thought potentially that could bomb their movie, right? Like maybe it's the guy or the girl that's bombing the movie and not the movie itself. And oftentimes that does happen, right? It's just bad casting, and that's why the concept doesn't work, right? But what happened was there was a guy going for, I can't even remember what the movie was, but there was a guy going for, I think it was a movie with like Ryan Reynolds and Kate Hudson maybe, but either way, Cat Williams was on the movie. And there was a guy that was supposed to have this one role, and Cat, I guess, didn't like the guy, and he put a gun or something in the guy's bag, and then the guy ended up getting arrested for like having like, you know what I mean? Like a gun. Cat Williams is crazy. Yeah. This is a story through someone else. But apparently whatever. But the casting was like, well, we need the role calls for like a short, black, funny comedian, male. Yeah. And then Kevin Hart just happened to fit that bill exactly. Right. And then he got called for the role, but he was like 4th or 5th down the line of like people that would get the role. So it's luck most of the time, right? Like, he got exposed to all those people, and then he just built off of it from there, right?
Well, they say luck is when preparation meets opportunity.
Yeah.
So the reason why, like, yes, Kevin Hart got lucky to get put in that position, but that was more of an opportunity, and his preparation for that opportunity led to him reaching this, right? Because if he didn't put in the work and he just got it, you know, like a lot of actors that get a role and they go nowhere because it's like they're not prepared for that in a sense. Again, the industry is fucking nuts in itself, but I truly believe if you just work your ass off, eventually something's bound to happen. But anyways, I would love to hear this Rich Dad Poor Dad story.
Wait, one more, let me jump in with one more thing before the story. I just want to add on.
I hope it's going to be a terrible story. It's just going to end on such a
all the suspense. Like, I want to hear it. I want to hear
it for nothing.
Yeah, we're building it up too much. But Jared, you were talking about like doing the pod and doing it just because you love it and not because it's like you want it to blow up or whatever. I think that for the kind of advice thing Johnny was talking about, I think that's really important that you do a thing that you love, because in a way that's to go back to the metaphor, that's the thing that your people can do when they show up and the arc isn't built. Like you guys know Video Game Donkey. He makes big YouTube videos. He's got like millions of followers. He does really funny gaming videos. They're sort of reviews, but they're not really. He's being funny. The point is, he has also like live streams that he does where he'll like just watch videos of like animals and react to them and stuff. And all of that content is on a separate YouTube channel because
Right.
it's like his diehard audience that wants the polished stuff. They'll also go and watch that other stuff too. So it's like, you're growing on with your polished product, but then you also have this stuff to feed the people who, because what do they
Right.
say? Famous comedian Dave Chappelle, he says when the audience really loves you, you can just come out there and just like make a face, and the audience starts laughing before you even get started and stuff. And both of you guys and everybody who makes content has like a small audience like that already loves them. So it's like to them you can't fail, right? So you should keep doing those things that you love while also experimenting with all that other shit.
Yeah. No, 1,000%. So now coming into the Rich Dad Poor Dad story.
Drum roll, please.
So I had just finished reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I think I got hit with like a targeted ad or something.
Your dad got
like,
rich.
Yeah. It was like Rich Dad Poor Dad, like real estate conference or something. And I was like, I was like, wait, Robert Kiyosaki is coming to Toronto to talk about like the book or whatever. Like, that's crazy. Like, I gotta get tickets to this. Like, I just read his book. That's nuts. So I buy tickets to it. It's at like at a hotel by the airport. So I was like, okay, that even kind of makes sense that he'd just fly in, go to the closest place, like a conference room,
Hilton
do it, and then
whatever.
fly out, right? Like,
right.
Totally made sense in my mind, right? I have my Rich Dad Poor Dad book with me in my bag. I'm like, I'm gonna talk to him, tell him like all the shit that I learned from it, maybe get him to sign it. Like, I got all these scenarios.
I feel like that's not how the story's gonna end.
I go all the way. I get on the GO train. I go all the way to this fucking hotel, right? And I come in, and there's all these people there, and we all come in. We sit down, and this guy comes up to the front, and he starts talking, and he tells us that he's a real estate agent. And I'm going, okay, is he gonna give him like an intro or something?
Yeah.
30 minutes go by. Still no Robert Kiyosaki. I'm like, all right, I'm getting duped here. Like, what the fuck is happening? And then he like just casually mentions that like this conference is just his conference. It was just like a Markham real estate agent who took Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad course. I guess there was a course that he offered for people to teach his methods. And this guy is running a whole thing. And I've never been scammed so hard in my life, right? Like he did it without me even noticing, because he does all this stuff. He's doing that motivational, that motivational guy that's like telling you a lot of stuff, but none of it's actually like applicable. Like, he's not really giving you the tools of the trade. He's kind of just telling you like, and then you hammer the nail. You're like, well, how do you use the hammer?
Right.
He just skips right over that. He's just like, put the nail up and hit it with the hammer. You're like, all right, cool. But in real estate terms. And then at the end of it, he's just like, all right, like, I have a course. Like, who wants to sign up for my course? It's only $300. And he's trying to sell us. He's now pitching us on his course at this course. And I was like,
wow.
I need a cigarette. I just left.
Oh, man.
I just left. I was so disappointed that trainer. I'm like, I'm a fucking
rough,
idiot, dude.
But to the point of what we've been saying this whole podcast, you learned.
Yeah, I learned. No more pyramid schemes.
Dude.
Yeah, no, do you guys follow Robert Kiyosaki on Twitter?
No.
I follow him on Instagram, but go ahead.
Is he wild on Twitter?
He's a bit of a nut.
yeah. He's definitely changed over the years. That's for sure.
No, like he's like all the replies are always like, I loved you with Rich Dad Poor Dad, but you've gone too far. Like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Like, he'll just tweet like just the most random shit. Like, he loves Trump. Trump could do no wrong, but he'll tweet out
he's a big
stuff.
Trump guy.
Which again, I'm not gonna say I'm anti-Trump. I'm not pro-Trump. I'm just like, whatever. I don't give a fuck. You say anything about Trump and you don't say he's the worst guy in the world, people think you're like a neo-Nazi. Like, I don't. That's not like it. Just is what it is. Like, but he will tweet stuff like, it's like I almost want to like pull it up and like I want to quote him, but he'll put like Biden in capital letters. They'll be like, Biden is ruining America in capital letters. That's how we need Trump back in office. Like, he'll like, now is the time to buy Bitcoin and gold. Everything else is going to shit because of Biden. Like, it's just like,
oh my God. Okay. I got a tweet here.
He tweets like hit pieces about like the liberal media. Like
2013 Rich Dad's Prophecy published. My book predicts biggest stock market crash in history coming.
Biden
Biden elected in 2020. RD's prophecy coming true. Wait. He's short formed his like Rich Dad. He just RD's prophecy coming true. Boomers toast. Should have got out in 2020 when Biden elected. Why don't thieves rob Biden's home? Professional courtesy.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. Like he tweets the most fucking
Yo,
wild.
that tweet is crazy. That almost reads like he dictated it to his phone too.
Yeah. He probably did. And then he's like, tweet.
Or no,
tweet it.
He's got a staff member and he just starts ranting to them.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? Tweet that.
He probably does have a staff
look
member.
Look at the Michigan one. He always says like the liberal woke, the liberal shit. Like he's so political now, man.
Man, that's the internet though, right? Like if you're involved in these circles, you get so radicalized to one side or the other because everything is so you have to be so spicy online, right?
You do have to be spicy to get any attention. It's so crazy.
No, man, I've had to I personally I'm on Twitter a lot. I don't go on Instagram as much. I'm on Twitter a lot, but I've literally had to start like muting accounts that come up a lot. Truthfully, it's more so conservative accounts. Just because they're just so fucking toxic. But even like the liberal accounts too, like either side, like just seeing all the like we're talking about the negativity, the hate. I'm like, I just can't constantly. It's not even accounts that I follow. It's like accounts you might be interested in, and I'm like, I'm not interested in this shit.
You're like, I listened to one Ben Shapiro episode.
No, but literally, man, like
it's just so easy for these people that are really hard leaning on one side or the other to get like really spitefully hateful towards the people on the other side, because on the internet you're just picturing like this group, like if you're on the left and then you're talking to some right-wing person on the internet who is like, oh well, I actually don't think men can get pregnant, you're picturing him and all of his buddies at like a like keg party tailgater, like a bunch of racists and stuff, like, and it goes both ways, and because you're picturing there isn't a human being on the other end, it's just some piece of crap, and so it's just so much man. I'm
That's
the
why
opposite.
we need borders.
Like I'm usually on Instagram and I don't go on Twitter much, because every time I go on Twitter it's like I start reading I get on a controversial tweet and start scrolling down and it gets so intense.
But I will say, dude, a lot of times I find I do that, and some of the replies to me are just fucking comic gold.
There's some gold in there, yeah.
There's some really funny people out there.
Like
that's something
like you don't find that stuff on Instagram, bro. Twitter, like
for sure. Twitter's better.
I sent him one, and I'm like, this is why I'm on Twitter all the time. I don't even know what it. This was it. I don't know if I could like. It says a word
turn
that
your blur off. Yeah.
It says a word that, Johnny, if I say it, like YouTube might take down the video.
Oh,
we're skip over that word.
They're not listening anymore.
Like I could
say
Johnny,
it.
If you want, I could send it to you and you could share it on the screen.
Say it. As long as it's not the N-word. Just don't say that.
No.
All right, then we're good.
I wouldn't say that on camera.
Is it one of the big ones?
On camera.
Does it start with a C?
No, it's pedophile, but so it's like a thread. The blur's gonna fuck it up. Okay, I'll just read it quickly. So it starts. It's about the balloon in China, whatever, and it said, "How did a balloon get here and no one noticed?" And someone said, "Look at the commander in chief and the people he put in charge, and all questions will be answered." Person replies, "Good point." Guy replies, "A real leader would send military into Taiwan and beg them to do something about it." Then some random person just jumps in and goes, "Really good thing you're not the president." The guy that said the commander-in-chief bullshit goes, "I could never be. My son is not a crack-addicted pedophile, and I've never molested..." No, wait. He goes, "And I've never molested my daughter in the shower." Some other random person jumps into the thread and replies, "Should have stopped at daughter."
Oh my god.
Because he goes, "I've never molested my daughter in the shower," and he goes, "Should have just stopped at daughter."
Got him.
And it's like, these are just random people on Twitter just interacting with each other.
Dude.
And I'm like, how do you not read that and just find it to be the funniest thing in the world? Like, it is just so entertaining to me, dude.
That's the best part about Twitter. You have these people who are getting into these really serious arguments, and then you have people with like the Ryan Long mentality, where everything that you're saying, they're just digging for the joke, and then as soon as they find one, they just pop, boom, and then you get ratioed to hell.
So fucking annoyed too.
I was mad about that because like I get Ryan's humor, and like where he's doing that, where you can tell when you're talking to him, he's kind of like processing everything, and then
he's setting up a punchline on you.
He's setting up a punchline in his head while you're talking. He's listening, but he's setting up a punchline because he's a comedian. He's an entertainer.
Always looking for that angle.
He wants to be funny, right? Like that's his humor. And I've listened to him on a bunch of different podcasts, and I noticed this happened when he was on Joe Rogan.
Which is crazy. He was on Rogan.
Crazy,
yeah, buddy.
I mean, well deserved. Like he obviously, I was like,
sure.
A little late, Joe. Like you're a little late to the party. Like Ryan Long's been on fucking Fox News before he got to you. You know what I mean? But like Ryan would try to interject with like a joke, and then Joe would take it literally for some reason. He was like, "Well, what do you mean by that?" And you're like, "It's just a joke." Or he'd like talk over him, and I was like, "What's happening? Like,
oh man,
why does Joe take everything so fucking literally? Like, that's insane."
I think Joe is so used to like chopping it up and getting heavy on the pod that's just where he goes.
Yeah. He's talked to too many like professors and intellectuals that everything is like, okay, give me the data and I'm going to try to process it.
And it's such a weird mix, the two of them, because like I watch Ryan on the Boys Cast a lot, and when him and Danny are doing their thing, like they'll just find some story from the internet, some Reddit thread or something, and they'll explain to the audience a rough outline of what the story is, and then they're just riffing, and they'll pretty much keep digging until they hit bedrock and move on to the next issue.
They'll just go, all right, that was
so fucking funny sometimes.
Dude, but you know what's a good podcast for that too is The Bonfire. They do the same similar thing with Big J Okerson and Dan Soder, but now it's going to be Robert Kelly like switching in from. But
that sounds familiar.
They're really The Bonfire. I listen to every single day. Like as soon as it's up, I listen to it because it's just such a good banter between them. And they also include like the producers and everything that are on mic on the show. And there's like a built-in like character base. Like it kind of like inspired, this idea of like having usually the four of us on sometimes, but like to build that for the people that are listening to the podcast. Now they have these recurring people that are coming back. And they're going to get like the Cranking 90s joke I did in the impression. Like somebody who listened to that Cranking 90s episode is going to be like, oh shit, that's like a callback to that previous episode, Right.
That's like Flagrant with Andrew Schultz or Louder with Crowder. Same thing. Like they have the host and co-host, and then there's a guy who's not on camera, but he has a mic, and then there's two editing guys who also have mics, and they even get in on the jokes. You'll hear them laughing, or they'll get in with the riffing, and it adds so much more to the show, like to those crazy moments when a punchline hits or whatever. It's a good format.
Yeah, no, I love the like even like protect our parks. I love it, man. Like just the four boys chopping it up, getting drunk, getting stoned, smoking cigars. Like it's just fun, man.
It's so much more real than the shit you get on like broadcast TV and Comedy Central and stuff back in the day, right?
We're done with
curated.
That.
Yeah, I think the general population has had enough of that.
I'm gonna cap this off. We can keep chatting, but I'm gonna cap this off for the YouTube audience. Go follow Jared Bronstein, Bron7 on Instagram at Phatriik. Follow him so you know that he Twitter, I guess, is where they should.
And if you follow me, I'll start posting sooner or later. Trust me.
Too.
Just
take my word for it. Take my word
for it.
I gotta have a post coming on Christmas, and
just a birthday post. That's about it. I post the same amount that I visit home.
Wow, that's a good one for me, bro.
All right, guys, that's been the episode. Jared, Pat, thanks so much for coming on. I appreciate you guys.
Thanks for watching.
Listening. Thank you. Leave a 5-star review. Leave a comment. All the stuff. But until next time, I've been Johnny Rogers. Take care, everybody.
See ya.
You've been listening to The Johnny Rogers Show. New episodes air every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.